Hello and welcome. My name is Leila Nagizada, and I am going to walk you through this deck today because it's really important for me that you feel into the energy behind the words, the love, the care, the intention that has gone into the articulation of the mission behind the vision. So, what is being Luca? Luca, the word Luca is derived from Latin and it means light or bringer of light. And being here refers to a state, an embodiment of light. And essentially, it is a new, evolved operating system of how we exist in the world as living embodiment of that which we already are, the full remembrance of who and what we are as beings of light, as creator beings in physical form, expressed through the body. So it's living embodiment of the light that we are. And Luca also is a code for love, unity, coherence, and alignment. So essentially, it is the new operating system for humanity, a more evolved way of being in the world and expressing in the world. So, Being Luca is it's a global movement and a global ecosystem redesigning how humans live. It's expressed through two core layers: a global lifestyle and education platform, essentially providing frameworks and methodology and training and workshops and deep, immersive, transformative experiences for people globally who are truly ready to awaken and remember who they are beyond their personality, beyond that which they believe themselves to be. There are processes and transformational frameworks that exist that actually allow the human to take a step by step journey to reconnect with the truth of who they are, with the spirit and the soul that they are. And so the educational platform would serve a global market of beings that are looking for real solutions to become fully awakened, deliberate, conscious creators of their life experience, internally coherent, self led human beings, more evolved human beings. And the heartbeat of this movement and everything that would be orbiting around this physical community would be the heartbeat of that. The second expression, the second layer is a physical community. I'm a little nervous because this means so much to my soul. So, and it's also my first time ever doing a presentation like this. So, bear with me as I compose myself. So, let me start over with the second part. So, it's a physical, living, conscious community, which would truly be a living prototype of a more evolved way of life. It would be the place, like a living laboratory of finding ways of how it is that we live, how it is that we learn, and how we organize society in a more evolved way. My cat says hello. Um, Essentially, what Being Luca is designing environments, systems, and culture that make this new, more evolved way of being absolutely inevitable. So, what's the problem, right? What are we trying to solve here? The fundamental misalignment with modern society. Most people are not conscious of the fact that they are creator beings. They don't know that they are the ones actually creating their reality. They are living out unconscious identity patterns and are living within misaligned systems. This all leads to a profound disconnection of that which we truly are. We are, at scale, disconnected from ourselves, our true selves, the essence of who we are, the soul, the spirit. Of course, that then reflects in being disconnected from one another, from each other, from nature, from animals, from all life itself. We have a huge uprising of mental health issues, of anxiety, stress, burnout, overstimulation, low emotional regulation, reactivity. And at its core, you know, what is creating that is the systems, right? It is the educational system that we all are a product of. That educational system and model was originally designed to create compliant performers, not aware, conscious human beings. So that is the core issue of modern society. And that is what I see as the key in order to completely redesign and recreate a new civilization, a new modern society that actually remembers who and what it is that we are from the way that we are being taught from birth onwards. And of course, technology, while it is increasingly advancing, it is creating an amplification of fragmentation and incoherence. It, while on the surface it is seems to be connecting us, but it's actually creating a lot of distance. Most people, like we already addressed earlier, are living in this sort of autopilot mode, and technology actually makes that worse. The addiction to technology, I should say, because technology can be used with, of course, more consciously as a tool, but that's not how most people use it. So, at the systems level, the reality is that current systems that are based in fear, lack, limitation, separation, uh, judgment, right? All of that, all of those systems were not designed for human well being, for creating coherent human beings and allowing us as human beings to express the fullness of our potential. The systems are designed for survival, not thriving. And the result is that at scale, we're living reactive lives, constantly repeating and regurgitating inherited patterns and untapped potential. So, why am I building this? There is so much I can say here, but for the sake of keeping things concise, essentially, since I was born, I knew that there was something profoundly wrong with the way that humans live. This is a soul knowing that goes beyond logic and reasoning. I've always known that I was different, that I didn't belong in this world. And after 4 decades of searching for answers and doing deep inner work for the last 20 plus years, I finally like realize and remember and now claim the soul mission of I know that I'm here to co-create and redesign with others in collaboration with others literally a new way of living because I never belonged in the old world because I was meant to create a new one. So that is the truth of the soul mission that I'm here to be a steward of the co-creation of a new, more evolved way of life. And again, because as we just discussed, the modern society is just disconnected from the truth of who we are, disconnected from our heart, from our spirit, and what it actually means to be human, to be divine in human form. Again, disconnected from each other and nature and everything. And, you know, I'm a mother of 2 young children, and I just do not want to raise my children in this world. And my children represent to me all the children of the world, the next generation. I know that a new way of life is possible. And I want to help build that world with others. Being Luca is that world, is the heaven on earth version of life that I know is possible, that I want to live in, and I want others to live in as well. So, why haven't existing solutions scaled? So most approaches that exist out there, they address only part of the problem. So the first is inner work without systems, right? So people go on retreats or do their inner work and they have insight and breakthroughs, but there isn't really a scale. There isn't a model that shows how to actually integrate that into your daily life. And so when you don't have that integration piece, what happens is people revert back to old patterns. And there are, systems that exist but without the inner development. So environments improve, but again, human patterns create breakdown. If the human patterns are not addressed, then the loops continuously keep going. And the third is the replication, no replication layer. The work remains isolated in conscious communities, eco-villages, and the impact does not scale globally. So the gap here is that there currently isn't an integrated model that exists that actually develops the identity of the individual, right? Upgrades the identity, supports the human in remembering who they are and actually stabilizing that new identity as spirit and form, and also designs aligned systems and then scales them globally. So why now? I mean, there is a huge awakening, global massive awakening happening, and people's priorities are shifting. It's already underway. Billions are spent every year on wellness and retreats and personal development. People are waking up and looking for solutions, looking for how to actually live in a more evolved, conscious way. The remote work has untethered people from traditional living structures, and more people are now becoming nomads and traveling and are looking for, again, a more evolved way of being and living, learning. Um, a lot of people are now rejecting and are looking for alternatives in education and career paths. And there is a huge generation of humans who are seeking meaning beyond the traditional sense of what it meant to be successful. And there is a uprising of people looking for intentional communities and alternative living models. Now, people are actively searching for this, and that tells us that behavior has changed, but the infrastructure hasn't caught up yet. So, just some numbers here. I think I've got my notes. Apologies for that. So, the market's already here. Humanity is ready. The world is waiting for the infrastructure to catch up. Just some numbers to back up these claims. 6.8 trillion global wellness economy that is projected to go up to 9.8 trillion by 2029. And the wellness sector is the fastest growing one. Wellness real estate is at 19.5%, and mental wellness is at 12.4%. And Being Luca is combines those two core pillars. 66% of consumers pay more for values aligned experiences. The demand is not just emerging, it's already here, it's already arrived. And Being Luca is the solution. It is the infrastructure that people are actively looking for. They're waiting for it. They're looking for it. So, what is the Being Luca model? How does it actually work? So, it integrates three layers. And as such, it makes the shift real, stable, and scalable. So the first and most important layer is the identity level, right? Identity level transformation rewires behavior and the nervous system at the root, at the subconscious level and the system level of the nervous system. The second is the environment. So creating real world environments that make those new identities, those new upgraded ways of being and the behaviors inevitable, because you are living inside of a thoughtfully designed system that allows for integration to happen naturally as a byproduct of living in that environment. And the third is the replication layer. So we would be actively codifying, refining, and scaling what works through an open source model, making this available globally to anyone who wants to replicate what works. So Being Luca, therefore, is that integrated model that combines all three layers and makes change sustainable and scalable. So the environment of the physical community would naturally support humans in how we are meant to live, learn, and evolve. There would be a living, learning, food and land, and nature and design components to this, which would all reinforce coherence, connection, profound connection, again, to the true self, nature, each other, animals, and the full expression of human potential. So, just to quickly run through each layer. So, living would be available through permanent residency for individuals or families, with as well as flexible stays and immersive pathways. And again, to reiterate that the living piece would again reinforce everything that would be developed as the new culture, as the new, more evolved way of being, through creating rhythms that are more aligned to how we're meant to live within shared spaces. And the core of it is the meaningful connections that would be cultivated as a result of that way of living. The learning is really the heart of this whole community, and it is redesigning an entirely new educational model for how humans are meant to be educated as whole, holistic way of educating. I can do a whole 30-minute slide presentation just on that, but again, to keep it concise, that is a huge piece that we can talk about if this is an interest. And not just for children from early childhood through adolescent, the learning would be also for adults as well, right? For ongoing learning through workshops and retreats and trainings, and because we all are needing support in that way. And the spaces would be really designed for focus, collaboration, and creative expression. The food and land, oh, this is again a deep passion of mine, is to regenerate the soil to become the most nutrient dense and work with nature through permaculture principles, and create the most incredible nutrient dense food and food forests, farm to table cafes and shared dining experiences, and creating overall a world class culinary experience that is rooted in deep nourishment, in craftsmanship, and refined sensory design. The food here is really, it's an act of devotion. It's an act of um, appreciation of the body as the temple for the soul. And so food is like ceremony. It's feeding your temple, it's nourishing your temple. So it would be part of that culture here at Being Luca. And nature and design here is important as well. So the nature would be as much as possible left preserved, with lots of open spaces and incredibly designed gardens and animal sanctuaries, because animals truly, well, there's nothing like being in the presence of animals that brings you into presence. So the animals would be integrated into that process of healing and remembering who we are. And the design, of course, of the entire community would be also informed by sacred geometry, and that in and of itself would also create energetic balance and support coherence and flow and remembering and realigning our energetic body. And the timeless design and elegance that would be infused into everything would again reinforce that calm presence. Every element would again reinforce coherence, connection, and the full expression of human potential. Here's a rendering of what that might look like. It kind of speaks for itself. Just imagine being in that space and feeling the fresh air, breathing in the fresh air, and hearing the birds, and being surrounded by so much thoughtfully designed beauty within, and then of course the untouched nature that would envelope the entire community with natural elements spread and thoughtfully infused into the design. So, what are the pathways into Being Luca? It's accessed through three primary ways: so residency, immersive experiences, and education. And doesn't matter which pathway you take, it's designed to make transformation inevitable, right? So for people that would be living there, they would develop, profound self-leadership through the lived experience. The immersive experiences, again, would provide people with the tools to integrate the work that they would do through the transformational workshops and retreats that would allow them to take it into their daily lives and be able to fully integrate what the experience has given them, the insights, the breakthroughs. And of course, the educational pathway would be open not just to residents, but also the local families as well, and would be rooted in self-awareness, emotional intelligence, connection to nature. And again, this could be a whole other presentation, but keeping it concise as much as possible, while also, articulating the massive vision here. And yeah, the most important thing with the educational piece is to mention that it would be developing whole humans that are not just capable minds, but are coherent souls, remembering who and what they are. So we've got some early traction, although we're in the very early stages of developing all of this, but it's already in progress. So we've got the Align Journal, which is a structured tool that supports conscious living, clarity, self-regulation. We've got one-on-one transformational work guiding individuals through profound identity level changes and integration again. We've got a emerging community of conscious creators called the Creators Lounge, focused again on supporting people to learn how to be deliberate conscious creators and live in self-leadership. And early development of structured foundational frameworks and replicable methodology. Now, all of this is just, early signals for demand of a more integrated approach to how humans live, grow, and evolve together. Now, the business model, although to me, Being Luca is so much more than a business, I understand that we still function in a world where money is a player. So there are plenty of aligned revenue streams here. And whether it's through residency, through immersive experiences, through education, workshops and training, food and hospitality, and of course, the replication and licensing layer as well. So there is huge potential here. It's a model that is designed to generate both immediate revenue and long-term scalable impact as well. So a little bit about me. I am the founder of Being Luca. And in my past, I was part of a co-founding team of a global e-commerce brand called Luxy Hair that ended up being built and scaled as a multi-million-dollar business. And like I mentioned earlier, I've done 25 plus years of deep, 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 profound transformational work, identity work, human development. I've personally gone and looked through pretty much every modality you could imagine, from meditation, breath work, psychedelics, darkness retreats, shadow work, reparenting. I mean, you name it, I've looked through it, I have studied it. I'm obsessed with human transformation, humans remembering again who and what we are. And yeah, I'm the creator of the Align Journal and facilitator of identity level transformation work. And beyond all of these, points, I know that I am qualified at the soul level. There is a gnosis that goes beyond logic, beyond reason, beyond anything that could be expressed through words. I am deeply committed to this mission and to becoming everything that this vision and mission requires of me in this lifetime. So, the invitation, if you're still here, I'm so excited because the next evolution of how humans live, learn, and evolve will not emerge from existing systems. It will be intentionally designed and built by humans who actually believe that a new way of life is possible and are willing to come together, gather our resources and our soul gifts, and actually co create that world together. It's not only possible, it already exists. It just needs aligned group of people that have the vision, the mission, and the capital to actually make it possible, make it real. So we are calling in a select group of aligned partners to bring the first Being Luca flagship location to life. It's truly a one of a kind opportunity to participate in the creation of a living, breathing system at the intersection of human development, community, and regenerative living. So, for the first round of capital raising, we are securing 5 million or more. You're welcome to offer more if you've got it, but I think a minimum of 5 million in initial capital, which would allow us to, acquire and develop land for the first location, develop and build a core team across operations, education, and experience design, and of course, continuously develop and refine the model for long-term replication. I mean, this is an opportunity for someone who truly recognizes that the future of how we live is ripe and ready to be reimagined. And it's an opportunity to truly help build it from the ground up. So, thank you so much for your time. And if this touched your heart or your soul in any way, I look forward to hearing from you and co creating this world together.